3, 2, 1, level up.
Hey guys, so it's me back at it again. So this video is basically about my labor and delivery story, so let's just jump into the video. Well, the thing is my pregnancy was considered high risk since about the 20th week. It was considered high risk due to the fact that my baby was really low on weight. She was about 2 weeks behind in her growth, so they consider it high risk. And ever since after my 20th week or so, they basically told me that I had to come into the hospital twice a week till the very end of my pregnancy. And it was just basically, it was a non-stress test, I guess that's what it's called, which they just monitor the baby's heart rate and make sure that, you know, she's moving and she is developing the way she should be. It was about my 37th week. I started having a lot of discharge, which it's pretty normal, especially at the very end of your pregnancy. And I started having, like, not leaking, well, yeah, kind of like a leakage. And every time I went to the hospital for my non-stress test, they always talk to you. They always ask you the same question is, do you know the reasons that you should call the doctor or you should come in? And leaking was one of those things. So on Monday, I went in for one of my non-stress tests. And I was like, you know what? Hey, like, I've been having, like, I've been leaking. I don't think it's my water. I don't think my water broke, but, you know, just to make sure, because, you know, I didn't feel anything, no pop, no nothing. And it wasn't like a gush. It was not. I felt like I had to pee. I had a lot of pressure down there. And it was just, like, very, very painful. And so the nurses, they're super, super nice. I freaking love them. So we did the non-stress. They called the labor and delivery, or actually no, they called upstairs because I actually had an appointment for my every weekly checkup on Tuesday. So they called my doctor, they called upstairs and to see if they were able to move my appointment till that Monday right after the non-stress, and so they could check me. And so they agreed immediately. They put me on, they hooked me up to the machines. I was there for about 25 minutes. Baby girl was doing fine. She was, like, on her movement, up and down, side to side. So then they unhooked me and they sent me up to the clinic. So I went, the doctors checked me, and basically they said that I was 1.5 centimeters dilated, but that I was not in labor and that my water had not broke yet. So that I was fine, and that everything was fine. I didn't have to worry about it. It was just a lot of mucus, a lot of discharge that I had that was probably falling out. So I was like, okay, whatever. We went home. On Thursday, the same thing happened. Like, I had been having a lot of discharge coming out. It was like, it felt like liquid. It was transparent. It was not, like, it didn't have any color, it didn't have any odor, it didn't have anything. So Thursday, October 3, we went in for my stress test. Baby girl was doing fine. After 25 minutes, they said we're gonna take you to the labor and delivery. So we went, we were waiting there for about like 10 minutes, and then the nurse came in. She took all my vitals, and then she asked me all these questions, and then after that she said, you know what, in about 5 minutes the doctor and I are going to come in and a resident, and we're going to check you. So we were okay, perfectly fine. She was like, get undressed, put this robe on, blah 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 blah. So I did that, and I was just laying down on the bed. About 10 minutes passed by and the doctor came in. She checked me and she said that I was 2 centimeters dilated, but that she did a swab, that she was gonna go to the lab and look under the microscope to see what that liquid was that was coming out of me. She did say that I have a lot of mucus, which meant that my mucus plug could have fallen out anytime soon now. So She went to the lab. It took about 20 minutes and she came back. She told me that apparently she looked under the lab and she found the trace of, I forgot what it's called, but apparently it's found when your water breaks. And she was going to take another one to make sure that it wasn't the saline. I think it's called, no, it's not saline. It's something to sterilize some of the utensils that she was using. So she said she wanted to make sure that it wasn't the sterilizer that they used and that it was actually my water. So she swabbed me again, and then mind you, it is painful. Like when they open you down there, it freaking hurts. I swear to God, it freaking hurts. So she checked me. It was probably like 30 minutes. She came back and she told me that it was a false alarm and that it was just probably the thing that they used to sterilize. Like, okay, cool. She sent me home. Next day, I went into work. I worked from 11 all the way to 6 p.m. They had cut a few of my hours and days because due to the fact that I was literally at the end of my pregnancy. Like I had a week and a half left. October 4th came. My mucus plug fell. Mind you, actually no, let me go back. Before we left on Thursday, the labor and delivery, the doctor told me that I was going to have some spotting due to the fact that she checked me twice. So she told me if I had any spotting that day that it was going to be perfectly normal, not to panic unless it was like gush of blood or blood clot. So that I should worry and come in. So Friday came. I worked that day from 11 to 6. I woke up and I was bleeding. And I don't mean like a lot of blood. It was more of like a spotting, but my mucus plug was falling out. So I was like, okay, cool. My mucus plug is falling out. So, which means maybe I can go, I Googled it. I Googled it and it said basically that if your mucus plug, whenever it would fall out, you were either hours away from labor or even a few days or even up to weeks. Like it doesn't necessarily mean you're into labor, but it could take weeks. It could take freaking days. It could take hours for that matter. So I'm like, okay, cool. So that day I got ready for work. I left for work and I was having like really, really bad lower back pains. And I didn't think these were contractions. I didn't think I was, anything. I was having anything. I just thought it was, because throughout my whole pregnancy, I had really, really bad back pain, lower back pain, and a lot of pressure down on my pelvis. So I had, I think it's called lightning crotch. I had that since the very beginning of my pregnancy, since the first trimester. And so I didn't think anything of it. It was, my body just prepping for labor. So I worked that day. I was in pain. But thanks God, I made it all the way till the end of my shift. And so I got home like around 6:30. But when I got home, I decided, you know what? I'm hungry. Let me eat. My dad had just made enchiladas. So mind you, spicy shit. I sat down and literally as soon as I sat down, like to actually relax, I started having like cramps. And I didn't really pay attention to it. I just thought, you know what, like I'm tired. And I've been having pain since the very beginning of my pregnancy, so I didn't think anything of it. So then about 7:30, I decided to go up to my room to relax, lay down, catch up on some YouTube videos after a long day of work. And about at 8:20, I realized, okay, I've been having all these pains and I think they're contractions, but I don't want to panic. Like I literally had that moment of realization, like shit, like I think these are contractions and I've been having them since I got home, or at least I realized I was having them since I got home, and they've been literally like really consistent. So I started panicking and I'm like, oh shit, like what am I gonna do? Okay, like all these thoughts were going through my mind. I was panicking. I was freaking out because I didn't know what to do. I was home alone that day. It was on a freaking Friday night. My mom wasn't home, my sister wasn't home, my brother wasn't home, my dad wasn't home. All of them were at work. My boyfriend wasn't home. He was about an hour away at work. So I'm like, shit, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, I'm home alone. So I was like, okay, you know what? Relax. Maybe you're not having contractions. Maybe you're just making things in your head. Water did not break. Maybe these are not contractions. So I was like, okay, let me chill. I remember pausing my video. I was in the middle of a video and I paused it and I was like, okay, relax, breathe, you're okay. Whew. I was like, a million thoughts were going through my head. So I Googled it. Google's your best friend, you know, Dr. Google. So I hit up Dr. Google and I searched up, how do you feel contractions? What are contractions? How do you know you're having contractions? And so it said it was the cramp, like menstrual cramp, where it starts from your lower back and it makes its way towards the middle of your stomach. So I'm like, okay, I can tell when I'm gonna start having a contraction because I can feel it from the back. So I'm like, oh shit, maybe it is real contraction and maybe it's not Braxton Hicks anymore, because I had been having Braxton Hicks since probably at the very beginning of my 3rd trimester. So I'm like, okay, maybe these are real contractions. What the fuck? So immediately it said how to time your contractions, the time in between, and how long they last. So I was like, okay, let me start timing them. And so I went up to my notes and my timer, and I put on the time. As soon as I started feeling that contraction from the back, I would turn on the timer and I would write down the time on my notes. Did that for probably about an hour and a half, and when I looked at my notes, I wasn't paying attention to how often they were until I really looked at my notes and I saw that it was less than 5 minutes. Like, I was having contractions less than 5 minutes, and like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Like, I texted my boyfriend immediately. I was like, hey babe, like, as soon as you get out of on break, can you please call me? I think, I'm telling you, God was on my side. It's like God knew that it was time, because literally as soon as I sent that text, my boyfriend called me. He's like, hey, what's going on? And I was trying not to cry because I feel like I was in a panic. I was in panic mode. Like, I don't know how to say it. Like, I was just in panic mode. I was alone. I was like, oh my God, like, we're gonna have this baby. He was like, shit, maybe you should call your mom and see how far she is from home, or ask her, maybe, you know, it's in your head, maybe you're worrying too much, maybe you never know. So I'm like, okay, let me call my mom. I'm gonna text you back, and I'll let you know. He was like, if anything, he was like, if I don't reply ASAP, he was like, that means I went back to work. Text my manager. I'm like, okay, cool. So I called my mom. I'm like, hey mom, this is happening. I think I'm having contractions. I've been timing them and they've been within 5 minutes or less. My mom got quiet and she was like, I knew that I wasn't making it anymore. In my head, it was not in my head. I wasn't just making it up anymore. Like, it was contractions. They were the real freaking thing. So my mom got super quiet. She was like, I'm like 15 minutes away from home. She was like, get in the shower, take a warm bath, let the water run from all the on your back, and then when you get out, we'll see what's happening. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm over here getting my things ready. I was literally in the shower about like 10-15 minutes when I get a call from my cousin, and she's over here like, hey, like, what's going on? Are you okay? Do you want me and my mom to take you to the hospital? We're closer than your mom. And she's like telling me all these things, but the contractions had gotten so painful that I was like, yo, like, I can't even concentrate. I can't even understand what she's saying. I was just like, like, I was just like, yeah, like, agreeing with anything and everything she was saying. because I couldn't focus. I couldn't, like, the contractions were so painful. I was like, you know what, no girl, I was like, no, it's fine. I was like, my mom's actually on her way, she should be home like within the next 10 minutes. I was like, it's fine. I was like, if anything, I'll call you back. So after that, I waited for my mom, and we sat in the living room, and she was helping me time the contractions from when it started till it ended, and stuff like that. And my mom was like, yeah, you're having contractions, they're less than 5 minutes apart. She was like, is there a phone number you can call, like labor and delivery, ask them if you should come in, or what should we do? I called them. I was like, hey, the nurse answered. It was probably like 10:30 at this point. And I told the nurse, I was like, hey, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going into labor or not. I was like, but I've been having contractions since 8:20 from what I can remember. I was like, and then they're every 5 minutes apart or less. And from about 8:30 that I started timing them, or 8:20 all the way to 10:30, I was like, I've had about 20 to 30 contractions. She was like, give me a second, let me go talk to the doctor that's on call right now, and let me see what she tells me. So I'm like, okay, cool. She was like, so just give me a second, I'll put you on hold and I'll be right back. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So it, like, not even a minute after she puts me on hold, she comes back. She was like, hey, I spoke to the doctor, she said that you should come in. We hopped in the car and we're on our way to the hospital. We texted my boyfriend's manager. I was like, hey, just to let you know, can you please tell Louis that I'm on my way to the hospital? So we left the bags in the car. Right away they put me into a room, and the same deal that I had the day before. She told me, take off all your clothes, put this on, and then I'll be right back to hook you up to the monitor. So it was like, okay, cool. I couldn't do it. Like, it took me about 5-10 minutes to put that robe on because I was having really bad contractions. The nurse came in twice, and I couldn't move. I couldn't finish taking off my clothes. Okay, baby girl woke up and my guy went to the bathroom. No, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Look at her. She's so adorable. See? Hi. Say hi, mamas. Say hi. Oh, you're so adorable. She hooked me up, and as soon as she hooked me up on the monitor, contractions started coming in. Like, it started registering my contractions. What's wrong? Yeah? Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I have to go feed baby. I think she's hungry and change her diapers, so. I just spent 10 minutes talking to the damn camera, and I didn't even press recording.
Okay, as I'm editing this, I realized I skipped through this part, so I'm just gonna summarize it. So basically, the doctor came in, she checked me. I was 2.5 centimeters dilated. My water was still intact, and then she said she was gonna give me a few hours in, and then at around 2:30, the doctor came back in, told me that I was gonna stay in, that we were having this baby tonight, and that the reason why was because my baby's heart rate would drop with every contraction. So that was a little bit of a concern for them. And then after that, they ended up moving me to the room where I was gonna give birth in, and then this is what happens in the next clip.
They broke my water. I was on Pitocin. I called the nurse and I was like, hey, like, I really need the epidural right now. So within 5 minutes, she came in with the anesthesiologist, and after 30 minutes that they were there doing, whatever, I was on the epidural. And after that, they kept checking me, and baby's heart rate would drop for most of the time, every time a contraction would happen. But every time I was on my right side, her heart rate would stay steady or would increase a little bit with the contraction. She fell asleep. So they weren't worried. They kept coming in, and obviously they told me if by 2:30 you're not dilated enough, or if you're not past 6 centimeters dilated. Oh, what happened? or baby's heart rate would stop for majority of the time, stop dropping with every contraction, that I was gonna get a C-section. I don't want a C-section, but obviously anything, if it means that my baby would be healthy and okay, you know what, let's do the C-section. And due to the fact that they have broke my water, they say that after your water breaks, the increase of getting an infection goes higher the longer you go. Around 2:30 came in, I was 7 centimeters dilated, and baby's heart rate was good. It was steady. So the C-section option was thrown out the window. And at about 5 something, my mom left the room because my dad had brought her some food, and they were in the waiting room eating, and my mom and my dad, I forgot where they were gonna go. Let me mind you, I was on epidural the whole time. I don't remember much on my labor. I was asleep for most of the time. I was drugged. I was out of it for most of the time. So I don't recall a lot of things. And I felt like I had to push. And I started feeling the contractions. Even though I was on the epidural, I was feeling the contractions. And I told my boyfriend, hey, can you call the nurse? Because I really feel like I need to push. And then that's when the nurse came in. And then she said, you know what? Like, let me check you and see how far along you are dilated. So she checked me, and I was still at 7. I was still 7.5. She was like, you're not dilated enough. Just don't push, like, you know. So I was like, okay, cool. After that, about 30 minutes later, I told my boyfriend, I can't do this. Like, I really, really gotta push. Like, I can't do it anymore. So he called the nurse. The nurse came in. She checked me again. About 9.5. Yeah, I was like 9.5, almost 10. So she called the doctor. The doctor came in like 10 minutes later, and she checked me, and I was over the 9.5 centimeters dilated. So she said, you know what, we're gonna have you push with every contraction you get. And obviously I didn't think anything of it. I thought she was like, we're gonna practice. It's practice, push practicing. I didn't think she was serious, like, we're having this baby. Like, I was so into the epidural that I was in my right mind. And so I started pushing. And that's when my boyfriend, after like 5 minutes of me pushing, my boyfriend was like, oh shit, like, this is the real deal, and her mom is not here. So he called my mom and told her that I was already in labor pushing, and that to hurry up. So thanks God that she hadn't left the hospital yet. So she came into the room. Hold on, because my baby daddy's coming. Here.
No, I don't claim her.
You took a shower?
Yeah, my before sleep.
Yeah, so anywho, back to the stories. And literally I felt multiple times like I wasn't gonna make it. Like, I was pushing as hard as I could. Like, I don't know from where I got that strength from, but it was so scary because in every push it was so much strength I was putting my body through that I was ready to pass out multiple times. And it took me about 30 to 40 minutes till for me to push. And then at 7:15, baby girl was born. She weighed 7 pounds 5 ounces. She was 18.5 inches long. So right away we did skin to skin, and it was honestly the most beautiful thing. Like, I remember I saw my baby when she came out, and I just started bawling. Like, I don't want to cry right now. I don't. They went to clean her up real quick, and then they asked me if I wanted to do skin to skin. I said yeah. They handed her to me. and they were still like trying to take out my placenta and stuff like that. And the thing is, and this is why, this is the explanation as to why, because they weren't going to give her to me right away, due to the fact that her heart rate would drop with every contraction, right? So that was the worry that they had. That was the reason why, you know, I was induced, I was kept in the hospital. That was the main reason why. And what they ended up finding out is that when she came out, the umbilical cord was wrapped around her body. So every time a contraction was happening, she would move and it would just like squish the umbilical cord, and that is why it would drop. And that's what we ended up finding out, that was the reason why. It wasn't anything that there was something wrong with her heart rate, her heart, or that she couldn't handle it. It was just more of the umbilical cord was wrapped around her body. But yeah, like, I love my baby. Like, my baby's my everything. My baby's my life. Like, about 2 hours later, 2-3 hours later after I delivered, and then I was moved to my official last room. And then after that, we just chilled. My boyfriend and I, they gave us food because I hadn't eaten for over 24 hours. So we ate, and then we just at least attempted to sleep, which it was impossible. We had to wake up, every 2 hours. And not even that, we just couldn't sleep because every noise that she did, anything, would just like wake us up immediately. We wanted to make sure that she was breathing, and even till this day, we don't sleep as much because we are always checking up on her, that she's breathing, that she's okay, that her blanket isn't on her face, because she tends, I don't know why, but she has this tendency of, even her swaddle blankets, she'll manage to get out of those and then like put the blanket on her face. Like, I don't know why she does that, but yeah, that's why we usually don't put like swaddle her. We just cover her body from her chest down and leave her hands up, because that's how she sleeps. But yeah, so other than that, that's my labor and delivery story. That's what I went through. That's what happened to me. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Give it a thumbs up or whatever. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And yeah, like, honestly, thank you guys so much for the love and support I received, for all your super cute messages about my daughter. Thank you so much, and until next time.